Hello, hello, good evening. Let's see, buttons are over there somewhere. Hello. Happy Ghost Day, Joanna. Welcome. I am continuing the shawl from last time and I have utterly lost my place, though it appears to be over here. I'm not sure why I am so dark. Maybe I have to use a different setup next time, but I guess we shall be appropriately moody and stuff for today. Why so dark? It is a mystery. I also have, appropriate to the almost a day of love and not just romantic love, cup of Moomins, the one and only Moomin cup in my household, and also the one and only pink love themed cup in my household as well. Hello, Catherine, welcome. We have a lovely turnout, although it seems like my cat cam for the moment is but a crochet cam, but I'll take it. It gives us something fun and very differently exposed to focus on. Hello, Max, welcome. And I'm just gonna take a sneak peek at the pattern before I make all of the mistakes, which I am bound to do. Hello, Loxolaire, welcome. I hope everyone is doing all right this auspicious Thursday in February. Joanna says, I have a huge cup with a green flavored tea called Elephant Dew in German and a crochet project. That sounds excellent. We are matching today. Wait, was this stitch or that stitch? It is straight in that stitch, okay. It is still the same crochet row I worked on last week because I haven't had the time to work on this project off screen, so I'm glad to have a few hours now to make a little bit of progress. Hello, Kelly, welcome. It's a lot of regulars showing up today. Sid, why are you crying? Kelly says they just finished their first emotional support chicken last night. Oh, that is glorious. We love to see it. Everyone needs a good emotional support chicken if that is something they enjoy. But yeah, have you ever had that thing where you're supposed to do a thing and you don't properly read the instructions, and so you have to redo the thing? Because I had to do that. I had filmed a silly talking head video yesterday thinking I was done, but I was using new hardware, as you sometimes do. And when I came to review the footage this morning, it had entirely no audio whatsoever. I had configured the microphone all wrong. So there was no audio, so I had to redo all of it today, which these things happen sometimes. But at least they make for amusing stories. That time I filmed the whole section without actually checking the audio levels, because I am a professional. But honestly though, professionals make lots of mistakes. I love the study that someone did that showed that the faculties that report the most mistakes sort of make the least mistakes and have the least consequences from their mistake, because in environments where people feel safe making mistakes and reporting those mistakes, they also make fewer mistakes, which does make sense when you think about it, but it's feels kind of counterintuitive to begin with. But of course, in an environment where people are hiding their mistakes all of the time and trying to cover them up so they don't get yelled at, of course, mistakes tend to get blown out of proportion and end up much worse than if it had just been addressed straight away. So I like to highlight my mistakes as much as I can because it is a good thing to be doing. Professionals just get paid to make mistakes. I love that attitude, Kelly. That is exactly what I'm talking about. We have to make mistakes to get to where we are supposed to be. Hello, Lynn. Welcome. And the emotional support chicken is Crocheted, which, yeah, Joanna, I agree. Crochet gang in the house today. We are absolutely having lots of crochet fun. I'm a bit underexposed, so I apologize if people can't really see what I'm doing, but maybe I can try to put it. What if I move my little camera a little bit so that you can actually see what I'm doing, maybe, potentially, since we are currently sad and catless. Whoop. Is this? This is more natural for my hands, so I don't have to stretch to reach. Speaking of mistakes, I just now knocked over my cactus and got gravel all over my laptop. Oh no! That sounds not very nice, Loxelair. I hope you managed to vacuum that out in some way. The cactus is fine though, don't worry. Well, I still won't worry about your digital device though, because how will you join us and search interesting things on the interwebs and other potentially fun stuff if the laptop gets hurt? Well, that is the problem with laptops though, isn't it? Unlike a keyboard that just can get replaced, everything is underneath the laptop keyboard, which can be challenging. But I really hope that ends up being safe, because that is not a fun time. I once spilled chocolate milk on a laptop keyboard. It did not survive, which is perhaps not surprising. That was quite devastating. I was quite young at the time. I think we were in high school. Clumsy being on my laptop in bed, as one should not do, especially not with beverages. Cannot recommend. It was quite expensive getting it replaced because we had to have laptops for schoolwork. We were like a first class in the country that were experimenting with laptops for everyone in high school. It was not very good for everyone's focus, we have to say. But everyone had to have them, so that's just how it had to be. Luckily, I was waitressing at a pizza restaurant, so I was able to save up for a new one, but not fun times. Oh no? Yeah, indeed. It was a very big oh no moment. So at least, Loxelair, you can feel, hopefully, that it will have less impact. That I once spilled something liquid and very much electrolyte filled on my keyboard, and hopefully your cactus was quite dry and that you will be able to get it out of the keyboard again. You picked all of the gravel with tweezers and then put it back in the cactus. None of the keys seem stuck or anything? Well, that is very good. I hope it stays that way. But did I learn a lesson? Well, I have not really been using my computer devices on unstable surfaces since, so yeah, I think I did. And then, laptop cushions with a solid surface on top started becoming a thing, which was useful. And then, of course, just having your laptop on your lap with the solid cushion and your beverage safely on the side. And I could also show you my setup that I'm streaming from, where my beverage of choice is one level below the computer parts, which are standing on a, I guess it's called a shoe rack in English, like it's a thingy with legs that makes it a better height to work on, that I've put my laptop on top of and a keyboard underneath. So if I spill all my tea, it would only hit my keyboard and mouse. So yeah, I do think I learned to be a bit paranoid about my electronic devices. So there's that, I suppose. Joanna says the ThinkPad T500 had an extra tray underneath the keys and above the electronics. Oh wow, that is so useful. It had drains that leads any liquids out of the device so you can spill orange juice on it and it will survive, though it needs to be cleaned. Wow, that sounds like a really clever design. ThinkPad has a lot of those sturdy designs that are well thought out. I mean, there's a reason I feel like every person's travel work laptop is a ThinkPad. I don't feel like I see many other options unless they have a Mac. Or a Linux of some kind, like on the trains and on airports, they're always ThinkPads. Had to go to work yesterday with a migraine, Max. Well, that is unfortunate. That can be quite painful. Hope you have had some time to rest since then. Working on any fun projects? Oh, we are at the corner, which means I need to do corner stuff, which is over here. You can't really see it, but this one has different corner stuff than the edge stuff, so now I need to pay proper attention and get it right so that I actually get a corner that is slightly different to the rest of the lace, so that it actually has the space to be a corner, geometrically speaking. Okay, so we are doing one more of the long rows. No, wait, one more stitch first. And then this one as well as a triple crochet. And then we do our picots, 3 picots. And then we can read comments once we are out of this little I am different section. Wait, I don't think... Ma'am, did you make a mistake in the previous row? Wait, we are not at the corner. I am an idiot. That's why it wasn't correct. We still have 2 more rows to go until we are at the corner. Why am I already dealing with corners? Madam. That is not correct at all. This is a day full of shenanigans, isn't it? It's gonna be one of those days. Maybe I am playing with fire, working on this project in the first place. You ever just have one of those days? Luxelaire says, the lesson I learned was to keep the handle of the glass my cactus is in pointed away from my laptop. That is sound advice indeed. Is it an IT support cactus? Well, I mean, if an IT expert doesn't want you to click a button, maybe they put a cactus in front of it and people will avoid it, hopefully, although I get the impression end users cannot be trusted with such tasks anyway. Lynn says, I bought a ThinkPad once and the battery died after a couple of years. Oh, that is frustrating. I seem to have not... My laptop is really just a glorified stationary computer, because it's pretty much plugged in when I'm working with it and has an external screen and everything, so probably I should just get myself a stationary, but old habits die hard. Good evening, Alex. Welcome. You're early tonight. I hope you're having a good day. It has multiple roles, both IT support and emotional support, but it shares the latter with a bunch of tiny chickens. Multiple emotional supports are recommended. That seems a very wise allocation of resources. And greetings, Catpaw, too. Welcome. Having a lot of... I'm just making all sorts of mistakes and sharing old mistakes today, such as it is, encouraging people to make mistake. Catpaw says, I need an IT support cactus. Yesterday was all fighting technology. Yeah, I feel you on that. Happy time zone, Stripy Crayons, welcome. Alex is cooking right now, got to go eat in a minute. Well, I hope you have fun later. But yeah, Catpaw, I have had a day with technology as well. I filmed a segment for a video yesterday and thought I was all done, and then I went to review the footage, and I had set up my microphone, my new microphone, completely wrong, so I had no audio whatsoever. And they were all talking headshots too, so I had to go back and completely reshoot everything. So I hear you on, you know, hiccups with technology. It is what it is. What can we do? After the first two. Mendy Viola says, I am IT support. I feel that. I mean, I am my own IT support as well, so... We did figure it out, but I don't know if this is a new thing, but it's not something I'm used to yet, that my microphone came without a user manual, like the entirety of the user manual was online, not printed. So I had to go on their website and figure out what I was supposed to do and how I was supposed to connect it. And messed up a bit, but it should be working now at least. So fingers crossed for that. So instead of editing today, I spent a day reshooting. So you are not alone in having IT shenanigans happen. Oh no, that is truly a pain. Yeah, it can be, but I mean, what can you do? It is what it is. At least, I'm not like... Have you seen that comic? There is a comic about scientists where you have... It's a single-page comic where you have an older scientist and a younger scientist, and the younger scientist is sitting at a computer looking very dejected and very, you know, hands in your head, or head in your hands, depressed, and then the sort of older scientist, hello darling, clearly in a supervisor type role in the background, is touching their shoulder in a encouraging way and saying, you know, back when I was a student, making a mistake like that would have taken multiple people and several computers and years of effort to make a mistake that expensive. So I don't know if that is encouraging or not. Hello, sweetie. Are you joining us? No, my crochet stick is not a chewing toy. I have to disappoint you on that. But it seems we have miscalibrated Ye old cat cow, so let's see if we can make you a little bit more visible to your adoring fans. Maybe that's a little bit better. I have a friend who has so many struggles with her work printer that she seriously thought about finding an exorcist for it. Technology is useful but so temperamental. That is true. Very good point. It can be quite temperamental. It's a very elegant resting position, darling. Return of the Void, yes. Luckily, one of your migraine medications worked, Max. That is very good to hear. Though, I mean, you don't need to identify it, since that is something between a doctor and their patient. Wait, where was he? Catpo says, my old printer ended its life quite violently on the tarmac outside my office. It had it coming. The new one bought secondhand works well. That seems like an effective threatening device for a poor for a poor printer. I've never had violent reactions to instruments. Then again, the instruments I worked most closely with were very expensive analytical instruments, and you would not do that. Not that I could lift them, because they get quite large. Catpo printers especially create a special flavor of frustration. Yeah, seems to be the special flavor of frustration reserved for printers alone. I mean, I still have that. I don't have it within reach though, and Cat has joined the chat. Hey, that little patchwork or little handbook of crazy quilting thingy that is about ye big, because my printer did not format it correctly. So instead of writing out, half a page with the handbook that I thought it would be, we had this tiny little pocket-sized one, which, I mean, it was very cute and ended up working for the video because I could still read it, but it's very, very strange when you think you have your printer figured out and then it just completely refuses to cooperate with you. Never quite sure if I am pushing my crochet hook through the right part of the stitch, but so long as it looks roughly like it is supposed to, I figure we are good to go. The old adage of, if someone is close enough to comment on your stitching, they are too close to your project. Is the next one the corner now? See, now the next one's the corner. We were only 2 repeats too early. Wait, a little bit over eager with the corner business. I have a feeling that this ball of yarn is not actually going to be enough for this crochet edge. Luckily I have another, but I'm always amazed by how much more yarn crochet uses compared to knitting for a similar surface area. I mean, it does get thicker, which is always a point, but it does use more yarn. Wait. Now we overdid it by a stitch. Go back. 2 stitches we are skipping. There we go. And then it was 3. Did you follow my pattern, darling? Thank you. And then it was 1 more without a picot. And then the 3 picot lines. A cleverer person than I would have chosen a pattern more suited to my skill level. But where's the fun in that? Oh, we are about to have the first ads of the day in about a minute. So if you are new here, although I feel like we are a group of regulars in general, but we grab our beverage of choice if we have one and we hydrate for a bit. When you get ads, you don't miss anything. We are just taking a little bit of a break because I don't want to leave anyone behind. Since when you get ads, you support the channel in a very real way, so I don't want you to miss out on anything. So we'll just sit here and chill for, I don't know, half a minute, however long the ads take, which I can't see unfortunately, but we do our best. Did you know that you are the cutest? And the purriest too. Hello, Leard, welcome. Just found your knitting project and a glass of wine. That sounds very extravagant. Excellent choice for a Thursday, whatever time of day it happens to be for you. I have my little green tea and mint in my trusty cup of choice this February. Getting quite cold, but at least we have a hydration device. It's okay, I can move it, darling. It's probably a bit itchy. You forget that you had quail eggs in the fridge, Lynn, and now this bento has quail eggs? Seems a solid choice to me. Yeah, we've been enjoying a lot of like Pokeball type meals lately because they're so easy. Like you can start the rice and just add a little bit of water and reheat it in the microwave, and then just add all sorts of veggie toppings, and it's really nice when you're low on spoons because it's so quick to assemble. So it's been very nice for us to just make that at home very quickly and simply. Pardon? Not sure why you need to hold on to my leg, but I'm glad you are feeling safe. I had that earlier today too. We were cat sitting a furry friend who decided that my rain jacket needed more air ventilation holes. It never ceases to amaze me that that cat has no concept of what is a size appropriate prey for them to be hunting and playing with. They just go for whatever is in front of their face. They have attacked my coat, which I mean is at least 10 times their size. It is very cute. But yeah, no concept of appropriate sized prey, which is kind of hilarious and always a good time to be checking in on them because you never know what nonsense he will be up to today, whatever he will find to hunt you. I've been worried about taking my biking bag inside because what if he just lives inside it and doesn't want to come out when I'm leaving? That would be a little bit inconvenient. I'll be just about the least stylish winter biker you ever did see. I have my little rain jacket and I just use it all winter and I stuff it like I wear wool underneath. It's a very oversized rain jacket or wind-proof jacket, I suppose, rain and wind. So I just wear that over top and then stuff whatever wool I can find underneath and it works quite well. Keeps me quite warm and toasty, which is very nice. I do like being warm and toasty when I brave the weather and try to go biking. I don't have winter tires on those. It's very limited how much I bike in winter, but sometimes when the weather is nice, it feels possible. I will challenge the claim that that the pair of gloves I bought when I was working at the university could handle all seasons though, because when the weather really gets weathering in winter, it certainly cannot. Maybe you are all seasons gloves in other climates, but I'm gonna go ahead and say not here. But for most of the weather where I'm actually outside, they work very well. Would not be biking without gloves except in the very warmest of summer. My poor hands get so cold as it is. But I feel very lucky to be able to just gnome around on my little e-bike. Within, the limited battery range that we talked about earlier, that I tend to... My battery-powered devices, I feel like they are getting less and less battery a bit faster than my peers, but for now I feel very lucky to be able to zoom around on it to local places, watching people's cats and going grocery shopping. I couldn't go all the way to the city center, I don't think, and then back again. But that would be a big trek, so I would just take the bus anyway. One, two, three. Hope I don't mess up anyone else's counting in an effort to keep up with my own. There were so many crochet projects today. I do wonder what this will look like when it's done, if we manage to get close to the original recipe. Are the next just lines of chain stitches? Kind of looks like it. Interesting. We shall trust the pattern. I talked about this last live stream too, but I am so impressed by Japanese pattern books for knitting and crochet. I mean, look at this. So intricate and yet so clear. Some of the knitting books, the lace knitting books that I've seen excerpt from as well, they are just super intricate and really beautiful. I want to pick up all of them. I think they look gorgeous. I don't always want to do the super complicated stuff though, because I want resting projects that I can do in between more complex things, but I still want to drool over them and admire their complexity and their beauty, because my goodness, they really just go for it with all the complexity, and it's super impressive and fun to see. So pretty. Good evening, Yente. Welcome back. I hope you are feeling all right after our shenanigans last week. Yeah, welcome back to the audience side of things. It's a different thing, although I feel like I could use your dab hand at crochet here as I keep miscounting. Because I try talking to chat at the same time and then I can't even see whether I'm working on the corner or not, and started working on the corner when I hadn't reached the corner. But we figured it out in the end and everything worked out, so that is all good. Breakfast is eaten and now you are joining me in dumpling making. It's a good thing that you actually wrote joining me, Loxolair, because when I first glanced at your text, I saw judging me and I was like, no, I don't want to judge your dumpling making. I'm sure your dumpling making is excellent. But joining me makes a lot more sense and seems a lot cozier. Stripy Crayons is almost done with a messenger bag that's reinforced with twisted plastic. Wow, interesting. That seems like a really nice way to use up stuff that you have lying around. Oops. Surely you fit over here, right? And Kelly has been watching Yente's channel. We love to see some cross-audience action. We do love loving other creators on this channel. Like, I'm always up for recommending and encouraging people to watch other people, because there's not a single creator that can make enough if you really get on a binging spree. Like, there's just no way. Rising tide lifts all boats and all that, and I firmly believe that. And there's also the whole I lift you up and then you do well, and then you lift me up and then I do well, and then you lift me and I lift you, and we all just end up much further ahead than if you try to step on each other, because then no one gets ahead. It's just deeply rooted, as that is a much kinder and more comfortable way of doing things. Is just everyone working together. Even just looking at the beautiful pattern drawings is enough. Yeah, if you're talking about the Japanese diagrams, sharp crayons, I agree. They are so gorgeous. I'm not sure I would actually do all of them or any of them even. I want to look at them. The books look so pretty too. They look super gorgeous. The library chair says, oh good, I'm glad to see someone else making doilies. That happens, yeah. It is always room for all sorts of different creativity. Lee Art says, I'm in Norway just now. Oh, hello, welcome. I hope you're having a good time here. So knitting socks seems appropriate. Yes, guess knäckebröd and wine sound strange. That's my strange Italian side. We'll look up to see what you are all working on. I don't know. I'm used to knäckebröd, so, or tension or eat it fast enough or didn't freeze it, which does happen sometimes when we get to the end of the bread. Then you have something to eat until you can get more bread, which, if you are not aware, Norway is decidedly a country that eats a lot of bread. I would always get teased by my fellow gardeners who were usually from other countries that Norwegians don't eat proper meals for lunch. We just have bread, and that is what I grew up with, you know. Bread for all meals except dinner, and everyone else just looks at us funny. Like, you're not supposed to do that. But it's so easy and it's quick and you don't have to do a lot of cooking. Yenta having to explain their name again. Sorry about that. But Silly Dutch Shenanigans channel name are always good though. I was considering doing something silly for my channel name and I ended up doing something very plain and regular, but I really admire it when people have really clever names. Like, I mean, Shannon Makes, and then her second channel was Shannon Makes Something Else. I couldn't do something like that with my channel. I think that is so clever. It is so funny. I enjoy. I have the dad humor. I enjoy a good pun as much as the next person. Like, I was giggling for a while when I was just brainstorming world building and someone had a tea shop and I was going to call it Subtlety. And when my characters who were in that tea shop, they were going to be anything but subtle. These are the things that tickle me, chat. Like, just dumb puns for days. And Stripey Crayons explaining their, what was it? Striped plastic? Twisted plastic? Cut up old plastic bag into long strips, spin them into a single drop spindle, and then crochet around it in a coil. Oh, that is so clever as a way of reinforcing and also using up things that don't generally get used up. Also, good evening, Kay. Hope you're having a good time. Kay says they are spite spinning, interesting term, because the fiber pretty just not what I feel like right now is daring to block 2 spindle sticks I want to use for the spinning I actually want to do. Oh, that is fair. Yenta says they have a lot of jokes about Belgian and Dutch people eating bread all the time as well. You can include Norwegian folks in that joke, like, easy. I grew up with bread for breakfast, bread for lunch, and then something warm for dinner, and then bread again for evening meal. Like, there's just bread everywhere. Bread is what you bring for picnics, for road trips, for in your lunchbox. Bread is just everywhere. In Germany, we usually eat bread for breakfast, and traditionally they often ate bread for dinner. Dinner is literally called evening bread. Lunch is traditionally warm. However, nowadays people eat whatever and whenever they want. I mean, I am in support of that. Fed is best, whatever habit that takes. Are you guarding my crochet, darling? Hello from Canada. Hello, Etienne. Welcome. We're having all sorts of shenanigans with chat and bread and spinning and Norwegians and knäckebröd and all sorts of fun shenanigans. Oops. And I am trying to do a crochet pattern that is slightly above my skill level while interacting with chat. probably would be about at my skill level when I'm doing it silently, but I feel like my skill level drops a bit when I'm trying to also pay attention to what is going on screen at the same time. At least there is cat. Hi. My beauty. Oh. It's so beautiful that we have to wear a little apron so they can actually see you. Otherwise you would be all but invisible. Strategically placed apron. Bread is so tasty though? Yeah, it is! Joanna is agreeing too, it really is. And you can do so much with it. I mean, it's just a convenient source of carbs, and you can eat it fresh, or you can toast it, or you can do all sorts of fun stuff with it. When I was a student, I would like make this. I felt like it was very luxurious because cherry tomatoes are quite expensive in Norway. So when my bread was getting, you know, towards the last heel of the bread and it was quite stale, I would dice it into cubes with some oil and like salt and spices, rosemary and thyme usually, and make croutons. And then I would have that with cherry tomatoes and a little bit of olive oil and balsamic vinegar and salt and pepper. And it was such a luxurious lunch. It was super, super nice. Yeah, I had some bougie stuff like balsamic vinegar and olive oil as a student, but I mean, it lasts for so long and it makes such a difference that like per meal, the cost is not all that large, so long as you don't like avoid using it until it goes bad, which would be a waste. But I would use it quite a bit and enjoy all the flavor it brings, which really helps bring up quite simple meals. Etienne says, totally, I try to bake my own, and then the hardest part is not to eat it all in one sitting. Hot bread can be so tempting, and it stays warm for so long too. It's like it just keeps the heat no matter what you do, and you have to wait for hours and hours for it to cool down properly. Fresh bread is addictive? Yes, it very much is. So good and so crispy, and you only get I really like the crispy crust, but you only get the crispy crust while it's fresh. Like as soon as you put it in a bag, it gets a little bit soft and it's like, oh well, it was good while it lasted. Luxelaire says 5 dumplings in and I'm covered in flour. I should probably put on an apron. It's a habit I try to build, and I encourage others to build it too, but it's not an easy habit to build, I don't think. I find it quite easy to forget, and you know, I'm just gonna, and then suddenly I'm covered in spills and accidents and all sorts of things, and I'm like, I should have put on an apron, shouldn't I? And yet it still hangs by the edge of the kitchen, forgotten and forlorn, freshly laundered and yet forgotten, sadly. Catherine says, I'm not sure why there is a red line by my post, but it was not intentional. I do not see a previous post by you, Catherine, so it might have been that something about it, unbeknownst to me, got picked up by some sort of autocorrect. I am not sure what that would be, but I cannot see anything on my end, which sometimes is very frustrating. Like, I would like to see what autocorrect is reacting to sometimes, because it might not be something I actually want it to pick up, and I might want it to add rules and exceptions to things. But when I can't see it, it becomes difficult to know what is going on. Maybe I should have a look at that later. Yeah, Joanna says it too. The last post we saw by you was at the very beginning. I might need to review. I I'm gonna do the thing that I sometimes do, where I'm gonna, even though we are live, add a little review on YouTube. Well, not autocorrect, but auto censor? I understand what we mean. So, words. It's not a big task, so we can add that to the list of things that happened today. There we go. And where did my OBS go? There you are. Alex says hello Yenta and hello Etienne, the whole crowd out here today. Well, we have a crochet crowd and we also have a cross audience crowd with Yenta, and all sorts of crowds are hanging out, which is always very nice. Thanks for the closure anyway. Well, I hope it is useful. I will have a look at the auto censor words because I noticed that there was a comment that I approved earlier this week as well. That was also, I couldn't see anything offensive by it, so I wonder if in my overzealousness to add words that we do not want our community to have to deal with, that it might have included words that are included in longer words, and that might be causing issues for the for people commenting very innocent things, and that is not something that we want. So I might have to look into that a little bit, which is always good information to have. So thank you for bringing that up, Catherine. We are always in the process of reviewing one thing or another. I mean, my website has needed some serious overhaul for over a year at this point, and I not had the time to get to it. But such as it is. Lee Art asks, what kind of dumplings? It's exciting. Catherine says they finished a meal with lovely raw organic walnuts and darling tea. And I'm heading off to mending shenanigans, bringing the chat with me. Ooh, we are going on an adventure, chat. That is very exciting. Always room for a little bit of an adventure. Sometimes I wonder if you are doing your best to get out of frame while still being on my lap. I think the main time I want an apron is when doing dishes so I don't get splashed. Apron splashes are a real thing. I rarely manage to do the dishes without getting splashed in one way, shape, or form. So that is a very good point, Stripey Crayons. Good crusty bread will usually last and stay crispy in a paper bag. Well, not a baguette though, especially sourdough. Yeah, sourdough is also nicer on spouse's stomach, so I have been working on my sourdough dough methods for that reason too, and we found a recipe with spelt sourdough that seems to turn out pretty well each time, which is always a bonus. And it's very easy too. Just plop it in the bread tins and it kind of makes itself, which is a way of writing that I am a fan of. May well be a silly AI misunderstanding. Yeah, it might well be, but it's worth investigating. Once in a while I'd like a project that does not involve yarn chicken, especially not when each row is 300 stitches. But when you're using up yarn from previous projects, ooh, that sounds like very risky business indeed, Catpaw. It's very risky, but I wish you the best of luck. May the odds be ever in your favor. You reread the not intentionally secret post and the language was wholesome, not autocorrected into something unwelcome. I shall have a look at the banned words and see if there might be something that that does not need to be there or has to be sort of addressed in different ways. I will have a look at it after the live stream. Luxelaire says dumplings made with a leftover wonton filling because I ran out of wonton wrappers. So they're pork and water chestnut and ginger and scallion. Oh, that sounds delicious. It's very, very nice. I keep wanting to try dumplings, but I could never find the right wrappers, and everyone told me that making the wrappers was a lot of effort when you could just buy them. But maybe now that we are in a bigger city, I can actually find some different dumpling wrappers and try some different recipes, because they sure look delish. Maybe sometimes a timing issue or sudden drop of connection speed might block a comment from getting through. At least that's what I assumed. Interesting, Joanna. I am not sure if that would mean, because I sometimes have connectivity lags as well, which hopefully are not too disruptive, but I've seen at least one so far. But it might also be on the other end, I suppose. Because there are so many moving parts with these tech shenanigans that I'm never quite sure where a problem originates. Adventuring we go? Yes, very true. This will be a very mid-bento, but I have negative spoons this week. Aww. Well, I mean, a bento is still a good effort, so I think that is. Like, don't underestimate a good lunch and how it can be received. Ooh, we are about to have some ads again, which means I shall remember to hydrate. Have you been hydrating today, my love? You don't know hydrating, just snoozing. Sometimes it looks like she wants to eat the water from the water fountain, which looks interesting. But at least she is drinking. One, two, three. Crochet, an endless test of can you count? You are using homemade wrappers, Luxelaire? They aren't too bad, just tedious to roll out? Interesting. There are a lot of things that are, I feel like a lot of both crafting and food is like that it isn't necessarily difficult, just a bit time consuming. I feel like that is something that can be said for a lot of skills and techniques, that they're, sometimes getting the touch right is very important, but a lot of the time you just need patience. A lot of patience. Alex says they're going to do spinning for their sweaters. I won't be chatting as much, but I will be listening. We do have a lot of people like that. Like sometimes I will get comments at the end of the stream or after the end of the stream of people who have been listening while doing some other stuff that they couldn't comment, which is always very sweet to see at the end. Not that that is something anyone has to do, but it is very cute. But yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like I am sitting here just talking to myself, but there is no actual pressure for people to chat. It is entirely elective, just like the Discord, if people want a community to join with, it is entirely elective. There is no pressure in any direction, because that is very important to me, that you don't feel like you should do anything in particular, because we have enough of that in our lives usually. We don't need yet another thing we feel like we should check, unless it gives us joy and helps us feel nice in our free time. Etienne says they are currently spinning too, trying to finish my chaos dye sock spin so I can start spinning my new Dorset fleeces. Ooh, that does sound very enticing, although I must say chaos dye sock spin is also quite a mouthful, and I'm getting all sorts of glorious mental images in my head, and all of them are more fabulous than the last, so that sounds like a lot of fun too. Lynn says maybe I should spin too. Well, I mean, I hear a lot of good things about the little e-spinners that, as far as I have heard, were invented by, I think, the partner of someone, and like the pair was going sailing together, and she couldn't bring her regular spinning equipment because you're quite size restricted when you go sailing. So their partner made them a tiny, tiny little electric spinning wheel that they used, and it has been so welcomed by the, disability, accessibility needs parts of spinners, because it doesn't require hand to foot coordination or other dexterous things, and can be done from bed. I know of spinners who use their e-spinners when they are being like kind of iffy, like not so sick that you're just sleeping, but you're in bed and you're tired, but you're getting bored, which for me is the worst part of being sick. Like, one thing is when I'm just knocked out and sleeping. That is painful, but at least I'm just sleeping. But when you're like getting better to the point that you're getting bored, but you can't get out of bed because you're still so sick, it is not a good time. But I know of several people who use e-spinners for that precise in-between stage, which of course then they can do it from bed because they don't need to use a hand spindle that would need floor space or other stuff. Where was I? I had a stitch, and I think we are going over here. Mendy Viola says, I'm finishing up adding beads to an embroidery project during my lunch hour. Must sign off soon for a meeting. I mean, such is life when we have external obligations. It is how it is after all. But at least it was nice of you to join us for lunch. I hope you had a good time. And Yente is, of course, asking a very specific question about the spinning, which is always love to see it. Acorn floofs and other fun terms. Oops. Is this where we are supposed to be? I think so. But Jens says, no, I'm still on the bats I made from all my dye experiments. I mean, that is still very glorious, though. Dye experiments seems like so much fun. I too want to have space eventually where I can do those sort of experiments. I have friends that I can dye in their gardens, but it's such an extra spoon task to do it at someone else's place rather than your own, where you can just get equipment and do it. But one day maybe, and until then I shall admire Jente and other crafters' dye experiments and live vicariously through their experiments, because my golly, does it look like a lot of fun and chemistry. Oh, you do have an e-spinner already, Len. Sorry. I was just considering whether I have the energy to sit and spin. Yeah, that is a good point. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Although I might have guessed that you already had an e-spinner, since you are quite a crafty and creative person already. No disturbing madam during bath. Got it. Gotta go. Have a good week, everyone. Have a good week, Kelly. I hope you have a good time. Nice of you to join us for a while. I mean, it's already been an hour, so that's not nothing at all. Chaos spinning indeed. We love us some good chaos projects. They make so much fun. Like, who doesn't want to have fun while crafting? That seems like half the point. Bored in bed is 80% of my life, but unfortunately I can't be in a reclined position. And spinning on your stomach would destroy one's back and shoulders. Oh yeah, I can totally imagine that. Like the friends I know who use their e-spinners in bed are able to lie on their back. So if you are stuck on your stomach, I can understand that being very frustrating. It is no fun being sick. I have to say the e-spinners are indeed a huge accessibility tool. I'm glad to hear it. I hear other people say it too. I haven't tried them, but I support them just for the fact that I see people who wouldn't otherwise be able to spin have fun with spinning. Like, we love to see that kind of stuff. In the philosophy of lifting other creators up, Etienne has a video on the aforementioned acorn floof on his channel. Ooh, we love to see it. Can I? Well, I would check that out, but Etienne, do you have a starting video, you know, a welcome video on your channel that autoplays? Because if you do, that's gonna mess up with my sound levels, because I'm not able to split the sound from my computer. Oh, pause. Is that the right at the end? That doesn't seem like the right... That does not seem like the right profile image at all. I would like to go to channel. Thank you. Yeah, that is an entirely different person. It's confusing when you have two persons. Oh, pride sock yarn. Oh my goodness, look at the colors. Painting with all the colors of the ale waste. Oh my goodness. Was a fun video too. Acorn tannin dye experiment. Let us... Oh wow. You have so many colorful projects. They look so happy. Oh my goodness. Okay, can I share a video to chat without actually clicking the video and getting the noise, so that you don't blow your ears out? Where are you? There you are. Okay, I can post links and you can't, but here is a link to their video, as far as I can see at least. What fun! Oh, I love your thumbnails, they're so colorful, like they look like candy. Ooh, I found a pooch. Always happy to find a pooch. And while we are admiring Etienne's lovely handiwork, Max says they are using finished 2x2 in the round, but I'm not sure if I should make a pair of socks or a hat. Already made a hat for my brother, but I think socks would be more appropriate for me. I mean, you know yourself best. So if you would like a pair of socks, I'm much in favor of that. I honestly should make myself some more pairs of socks too, because a good pair of socks are always appreciated. So if that is what you want to make, then I say go for it. There's always room for another pair of socks, especially nice, warm, toasty socks. This time of season that we are in the northern hemisphere, you know, the colder part of the year. Alex says they were on holiday last week in Tenerife and collected a bunch of cochineal. Wow. It's cactus lice that made a brilliant red, pink, or purple dye. Spent the day trying it out and making it into powder. Ooh, that is very dedicated. I have seen videos of people working with cochineal, and it seems like a lot of things, you know, very labor intensive and very impressive. Not just the turning the lice themselves into dye, but the growing and harvesting them in the first place. The growing, the cactus farms specifically working on that is so cool. People are so skilled. People are so talented. Hope to dye some floof this weekend. Ooh, we wish you luck. I hope it turns a brilliant. I don't know which color you're aiming for, but a brilliant pink would be fantastic. I have a friend who does Viking reenactments, and they have. I wonder if they used birch leaves, though it might have been something else, because I don't think birch leaves. They get yellow, but not that neon. But he has a tunic that is in plant dyed wool, and it is the most vivid neon yellowish green that you ever did see. It's like a highlighter, like a marker. It's so neon, and I mean, you just know when you look at it that it is plant dyed, because no one else would wear a glorious creation like that to a Viking market, being authentic. Like, you wouldn't pick out that kind of wool in the shop, going for, I'm going to wear this to a Viking market. But I love it. It's so amazing. It's so vividly bright. At least it was when it was freshly dyed. It was the most vivid neon you ever did see. It was fantastic. Can't wait to see the results of the Cochineal project. Yes, we love to see a good dye result. I live vicariously through all your other people's dye projects, so please provide within, no pressure, comfortable, and all those things. We don't want people to feel like they have to do anything, but I still want to encourage you. That balance can be a bit sometimes challenging to strike. Joanna says, I still have some cotton balls from Uzbekistan which I want to try to spin. Ooh, oh, that is so cool. I mean, we have a botanical relative of cotton growing in Norway that is called, in Norwegian, it's called marsh wool, or like swamp wool. And from the last time I checked, it was like vaguely related to cotton. And when they mature, when the flowers get seeds, they get these tufts, and they're tiny. They're much smaller than cotton. Like, cotton is a lot more efficient and not steeped in water in marches. But it would be cool to try to, you leaving us, darling, try to spin that into something, because it would be fun just to try. Even just getting the seeds out, they're tiny, would be a challenge, but it would be so fun. Alex says, the cochineal was spread out in the wild, and I just stopped in a few places by the road to collect it. Exciting. I have never seen it in the wild, and I haven't done much traveling either, I have to admit, especially to warmer places, but that is very cool. It's a very cool project. It sounds like a lot of fun. Thanks for the link to Etienne. We'll check out when the streaming finish. Yeah, I always like to find new creators that we can follow, because why not? There's so much. Like I talked about earlier, one creator can't possibly make enough content to satiate someone who is like binge watching and watching a lot of YouTube videos and having a lot of fun. So why not just uplift each other? I see no reason not to. Max says, I think I could make a pair of socks for my mother using any Russian stitch, but I saw the ombre blue pattern. That would be perfect for her on her birthday or Mother's Day. After all, blue is her fave color, and Russian stitches are her absolute favorite in knoll binding. That sounds like a very good combination then, if that is what she wants, that is the things that she likes and wants. Like, it's always good to feel seen when someone actually gives you something in your favorite color, in something that you actually like. It can take so little to make someone feel seen that sometimes it's almost depressing. Like the little plushie, the little cat plushie that was the most recent video. Spouse loved that thing so much. It has gotten, they are claiming that it is their favorite gift ever, because it has so much personal flair compared to like gifts that have taken significantly more time and money. Like, plushie reigns supreme, and it wasn't a very complex plushie either. So never underestimate having someone feel seen. It is such a valuable thing between humans. Ooh, Lynn with some dyeing details. Some natural dyeing processes are so complex and intensive. It always makes me wonder how the first people to do it came up with it, especially the ones that require chemistry and when the colors are very unexpected. Yes, I know, it's so impressive, this kind of stuff that people find out. It's so cool. Again, it shows us, which we like to point out in this community, people in the past were not stupid. They may have had different knowledge bases to work out from, but they were definitely able to reason and observe the world and make interesting inferences and conclusions. So, yes. Joanna says they also once dyed a cotton shirt with birch leaves and it did become light yellow, but the color quickly faded. Yeah, that is why I think it might not have been birch, because this stayed for several markets. They wove, like, they dyed the yarn and they wove their... No, wait. Did they weave the cloth first? I think you might have woven the cloth first, actually, because they wove the cloth together and then split it up into how many people worked on the weaving when. So you might have woven it first and then dyed it, but in any case, it stayed vivid for several markets and was so amazing. It made you happy just to look at it. That thing was a beauty. The Viking Bunny says hello from down under. Hello, welcome. Thanks to a wild thunderstorm and restful baby, I'm actually able to join. Yeah, I feel a bit bad that it's like impossible to find a time that works for Europe, Americas, and Asia and Australia. But I'm glad that you're able to join after all. I hope you're having a good time, a restless baby notwithstanding. Sometimes I wonder if I should do like a morning for me stream that would be a more fitting time for our Oceania and Asian friends, but then life happens and it didn't happen after all. But maybe I will do one day, at least once in a while. That would be really nice because I know we have a good deal of friends from down under and Kiwis from New Zealand, and we've even had commenters from Japan and Korea. So I kind of feel bad that you all have it as a very unfortunate time, which is what happens to work for me and my brain and time zone. But we don't want you to feel excluded. Old video of you about forever chemicals helped me decide what to do with my cloths and cooking tools. That is good. We try to keep people informed as much as we can, without fear mongering, which is a delicate balance when it comes to a lot of environmental stuff, because some of that stuff is really scary and it's, downplaying it would not be honest either. It is a ongoing battle of how to best present this. What is the most honest way of presenting these facts without unnecessary panic, but also giving it its due seriousness for whatever task is going on. That is a, science communicator struggle when we aren't crafting. It seems like an odd mixture of things, but a lot of our viewers have similarly scientific and crafty backgrounds, so I feel like we've hit people with similar interests. Muriel is in the cotton family. I thought so. It might not be in the exact same, but like I feel like I once read that they were in a similar... I want to check it now, that I'm not telling you something that is wrong, but I thought that they were like in a similar... Maybe I'm speaking out of my backside and it's not the same thing at all, but I feel like I... Gospbjörn and cotton mirror. Ah, there are many different types, so that makes it a bit more difficult. Monocots and grass. Oh goodness, this is too much botany for my chemistry knowledge. I am getting completely lost. I would have to double check that if I ever make that video, but Mallow family, Valvaceae. Mallow family. Oh goodness, now I have to translate them to Norwegian at the same time. I don't know, maybe I'm completely mistaken. I thought I read something about that though. I would have to double check. Svalbard has a version called Blackwall? Ooh, that sounds very cool. I want to check that out now. Maybe I'm completely wrong. That wouldn't be, you know, that happens. I recently learned that natural cotton comes in other colors than white. Ooh, yeah, I agree, stripy crayons. That is really cool. And naturally growing in greens, breeze, and pinks. Ooh. Yeah, I have a linen, like my linen petticoat is in a natural light green linen color, but as far as I can tell, that is just a factor of how old the linen is when it is harvested. So I think the green one is younger when it is harvested. That is affecting the color, not the species of linen, which is really interesting. You are the only person I could find who was sensible about the chemical issue. Well, thank you. We try our best. It is a passion of mine to try to communicate science as accurately as I can with all the references, because goodness knows I like people to be able to double check if I make errors occasionally, or if they're just more curious and want to check things out further. Like, why not just give them everything you used as much as possible so they can do more reading should they want to. I'm so keen to find some to spin of colored cotton. Oh, that does sound really cool though. Imagine the art you could make. Different types of cotton all spun together and just really, really fun projects. Oh, so many cool things to do. I'll have fun looking it up. Well, let me know if you figure it out, because I could not find it out in my brief Googling, so I might have been completely wrong. You know, these things happen, especially with botany, which is not my field of study, just a passion and an interest that I enjoy learning about when I have a chance. Ooh, we are close to a bigger city now. I might actually be able to sit in on some of the botany classes in university. That would be cool. Except, of course, we collaborated with biology a lot, so I would probably know several of the professors, which would be interesting, but it would be cool to learn more about botany. I like looking at plants and knowing what they are. I'll check my dictionary of Indo-European roots. Ooh, see, this is what I love about just throwing out statements sometimes, is that we learn things as a chat, because people go off and they figure things out. And then we all get a little bit wiser. We learn a little bit more. What is not to love? Green linen. Yes, green linen. I would show you, except I am, again, boxed in my own seating arrangement and have a hard time finding it. Give me just a moment. Maybe I actually can get some if I just finish this stitch. I'm no longer wearing it because I finished filming. Let me see. Oop. Oop. Can we do the, speaking of wriggly babies, can we just do the toddler trick and just like vanish under the table? There we go. Sorry for the noise. I'm back. Oops. Need to be more flexible to do this kind of thing on the regular. Where shall I put this? Oop. This was so much easier when I was a child. Oh, there we go. Someone needs to do more flexibility exercises. But yes, Lynn, look at this. This is my linen petticoat that sometimes makes an appearance on ye old YouTube channel. The color is a bit bad right now because my camera is very dark and I'm not really sure why, but this linen is, it has the, I cannot remember if it is the warp or the weft, but like the warp, if the warp is green, then the weft is like regular off-white linen colored. It's one or the other. I cannot remember at the moment if it is the warp or the weft that is the linen green, but this is not dyed, at least according to the person selling me this fabric. It is a natural color of the linen, which I just fell in love straight away. I couldn't resist, and now it is my favorite petticoat ever. Very snug, very nice, and I get to use it all of the time, which is very, very cool. Sorry, greens, browns, and pinks for the cotton autocorrect fail, but that happens. Joanna is pretty certain that myrtle and cotton have nothing to do with each other botanically. Myrtle is a sedge and cotton is a relative of the mauves. Then we learned that. That is very good, and I will hopefully stop spreading misinformation as much as possible. How cool would that have been, though, if they actually were related? But now we know, and that is a good thing, too. Vanishing under the table looked fantastic on CatCam like a heist film. I completely forgot about CatCam, I will admit. Classy and stylish as usual, you know. That is how we roll on this channel. I don't know, if you take yourself too seriously, it's not going to be a fun time on this earth, so I would rather do the opposite. I love how the vanishing was captured on CatCam. I live for the spectacle, apparently. I am glad you enjoyed. That is such an unexpectedly beautiful color. I know, I fell so hard in love with it. Oh, it was so gorgeous. Like, I haven't actually double tested, but that is what the seller told me, that it is not dyed, that it is the color of the linen, and I have no reason not to believe them, so I'm just like, oh, it's so beautiful. Kristine, I have to thank you for your wool chemistry video. I learned that my very, very old wool blanket probably wasn't as healthy as I thought. It was anti-moth treated, got me a new one. I am glad you found it useful. That was what I was thinking about when I was talking about, you know, science communicators balancing that difficult that difficult point between being accurate, being on point, but like not fear-mongering, at least not too much, but also not, I want to say bagatellisere, but like make light of a subject, like, but finding that line of an adequate amount of alarm, which a lot of these environmental issues deserve, but like not over panicking and also not underselling the issue. So I am glad that you found it useful, because that is something that I find, like, this is the difficult part, like my people-pleasing self and a part of my scientist wants to not cause panic, but then again, a lot of the subjects that I work with absolutely do warrant panic, so it's a difficult balance. Not downplaying it, thank you, Alex. Yeah, exactly, it's that balance between giving accurate information in an accurate manner. I have a video that I have been talking about wanting to make for over a year at this point, and I still haven't, because it is a heavy subject matter. It is a fairly complex subject matter. Like, the video has to be fairly long because I need to explain a couple of course concepts before we get to the meat of the video. And it's also a fairly sensitive topic because it happened not too long ago, which means that the victims are very much still alive, and we want to treat them with all the dignity and respect that they deserve. But it's a video that I really want to make, and I really need to sit down and properly focus on it. But it's also, I know that I cannot write that script in a week or two. There is no chance. I might have to set aside a month or something for that, because it's a big topic and I want to do it justice by presenting it properly. And I really, really want to get it done this side of the new year, because I want to get this information out there, but I am, when you get scared, you get all that imposter syndrome and anxiety about a topic, and it's because you care so deeply about the subject matter. You really want to get it right. And then that makes it harder to do the thing in the first place. But we shall get there. Even if I have to take an entire month of posting any other videos and you get nothing but that video in a long time, it will be worth it, because I think that video will be information that is important to get out there. Now you're very curious about what topic that is? Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm afraid of talking about upcoming videos, because I don't want people to be disappointed if it takes too long, but I really need to get going on that. I have a lot of references in my reference library as well, and I'm ready to go. And a part of me is oh, it's scary because it's such a big topic and I can't pare it down into bite-sized pieces, because I kind of need to give you all the pieces in order for the whole of it to make sense. Not sure. Okay, many suggestions for not for taking things seriously, like not downplaying it and not trivializing, and not sugarcoating, which are all good suggestions, I think, and all kind of convey a similar matter, and agreeing also yeah, it's a fine line that can be difficult to strike, and sometimes you miss and you have to fix it, and hopefully you learn to next time. And then Emma had let's see, a friend gave me some old yarn with silk and merino. It's gorgeous, but it says it's moth-proofed. I suppose I shouldn't use it. Well, Emma, that is entirely your choice. I try not to make videos that tell people what to do. That is a choice you have to make, but I would you might want to be cautious, because we don't know what sort of moth treatment they used. That is the biggest problem that I tried to illustrate, is if we knew exactly, if they had to disclose on the textile, on the yarn, exactly what moth proofing they used, we might be able to see oh, this one is not as bad as this one, it's not as bad as this one. But since there is no, forced ingredient labeling on textiles and yarn, we don't know. And that makes it all the harder. I really wish yarn and fabric and all of the things, clothing, was labeled like food with every single ingredient listed on the label. In all seriousness, that could make such a difference, I think, so long as it is done accurately and correctly. But it is entirely your choice. It's also something that you might want to consider. Who is going to use it and how close to your skin or a toddler's mouth, a pet's mouth, is it going to be? Is there a risk that a pet or a child or another human being is going to get some of this yarn in their mouth and potentially ingesting it? Is it going to be resting against your skin without a safe plant-based layer or something else underneath it? There are many different considerations. If you want to be safest, it might be safest to not use it if you are nervous. But it is ultimately your own choice. I am not here to be judge and jury over what anyone does with their yarn or fabric stash, but just questions kind of to be aware of when you are making things. I wouldn't make a baby blanket with it, because we know that young ones have a tendency to put things in their mouth, and that can be unfortunate. Also, their much smaller body size means that a much smaller amount of toxins can have an adverse effect, similar to small pets and cats, you know, an amount that wouldn't be a problem to our adult human sizes could very well be an issue for a cat or other small pet just because of the body mass differences. So that is something to take into consideration as well. But yeah, Joanna's suggestions of maybe only wear it over other clothing is also a good one. Yeah, there are many things to take into consideration, and preferably that whoever, if you're giving it away or using it yourself, that whoever uses it is aware of what they are wearing, which can be difficult, but it's sometimes very much worth it. The Viking Bunny as well. Due diligence is hard but so important and very appreciated when done. We try so that we can encourage more things, more behavior like that. Stripey Crayon saying true imposters are not afraid of getting it wrong, they're only afraid of getting caught. That is a good point. I've sort of adopted the attitude that if the imposter syndrome kicks in, it means that it matters. It means that I care about a project, and that means that it is important and I should be working on the project. So kind of the imposter syndrome is a sign that I'm on the right track. So it's a good thing, is what I'm trying to tell myself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's hard enough to get them to label fibers accurately. That is very true, and I absolutely wish they did as well. It could be a tapestry that would keep the mothproof away from your skin. That is a good point, Loxelaire, yeah. And the Viking Bunny sharing that big scandal in Australia at the moment regarding baby food and lack of regulation around ingredients labeling. Oh no, that does not sound good at all. Wool labeling has stricter regulations here than baby food. Really? That is really alarming to me. Like, food in general in Norway is quite strictly regulated. But yeah, I hope the scandal helps you get some better protection and legislation around baby food, Viking bunnies, so that you get safer food for your little one, because that is so important that they get good nutrition and good environments at this important stage in the beginning of their life. It can have such an impact, so I hope it turns out for the better in the end. But yeah, it's very frustrating when that happens, and you know, you get a bit I don't know, disillusioned, but yeah, frustrated is a good term. I'm glad you found the suggestions useful, Emma. You'll have to give it some thought. Yeah, you know, always never feel like we are judging you, like you make the choices that are best for you. Possibly I can weave it into a band which could have minimal contact with my skin. Yeah, that could be very, I mean, if it's silk and merino, it might be very, very pretty band too. It would be gorgeous. It could be a good use. Absolutely. But yeah, I never want this community to feel like it is like judge and jury over others' choices. Like, I want to bring information out there as accurately as I can, and then everyone makes the decision that works best for their life. I want to believe in other humans' ability to make the choices that are best for them, and that is very important to me. Okay, it says time to drag the dog outside for walksies. I hope you have a good walk, Kay. Have a good time with the dog. It's always happy to have a happy dog, isn't it? Like, it's hard to be in a bad mood when you have a dog that is happy to go walksies. They are just so enthused, at least the ones that I've met. My above comment was sent before I finished. I know the topic has switched, but it does seem like Mir and Meyer has share an Indo-European root. That does make sense though, Sylvia. I'm happy that you brought that up. We don't mind to jump a bit back and forth in topics, at least I don't. I mean, that happens when I'm talking, I get on a tangent about something and then I try to catch up with chat and suddenly we are talking about 3 different topics at once because that is just how things happen. So I do not mind that at all, at least. And chat just kind of has to go get along for the ride, I suppose. There are so many English words that have a root from Norse that is very impressive. I mean, knife and husband are the 2 ones that I always remember that are almost entirely. It's just so much fun to see how much languages are influenced and changed by each other. And, you know, it makes a lot of sense because people move and talk and understand one another. And languages are just such an excellent example of that. Luxelaire says, I ran out of dumpling wrappers. I will never be rid of this wonton filling. Oh no! That does sound problematic. I hope you figure that out. Either put it in other food or freeze it or something. But if you were in a good flow with the wrapping, it is always nice to actually finish, isn't it? I suppose this is like endless dumpling hack, you know, either you run out of wrappers or you run out of filling, so you always have to make one or the other, so there's always dumplings being made. And sky as well. That makes sense because they are very similar, so I wouldn't be surprised about that. Yeah, that does make sense. We also get the English words moss and mustard. Really, mustard has a root in Scandinavian, but we call it sennep. Mustard, sennep. Maybe it was called something else by the Old Norse, because I am not an expert in that, so I couldn't tell you what the Old Norse for mustard was. Cool. Ugh. I learned so much from chat. This is so much fun. That's why I like hanging out with you guys. I'll probably make it into meatballs. That does sound like they would be very delicious meatballs, Luxelaire. Ugh. Now I want to make wonton filling meatballs because that sounds really good, actually. And Spouse is a fan of pork, so win-win all around. Slime Kitten Void says hello, so hello right back. Good evening, merry time of day. I hope you are doing all right. We are currently a very dark camera that I'm not sure what to do with, but I am making some sort of progress on this crochet edge. As you can see, there is still quite a bit of space from one report to another, so we have quite a few rows left to go until we are done, but I have made some progress. We have not done a full row, but progress is being made, and that is the most important. Not in Scandinavian, it's from mouse. Ah, I see. Yeah, sorry, I made the entirely wrong leap of conclusion right there. So that is. It's good that you corrected me. The Viking Bunny says, I have a background in Germanic linguistics. Don't get me started. I never get to use my undergraduate degree for anything. I mean, geeks are welcome here. We love a good tirade. I love learning stuff. Why do you think I'm so insistent that, despite the algorithm struggling mightily with it, that we combine, that I do both crafts and science videos? They don't seem like they fit together, but I have met so many people who are both scientists and excellent crafters, so I shall reside in this overlap of interests, and I shall not apologize because I have met many a person who also resides in this overlap, and this is the safe space for them and just science curious people in general. Like, come hither to our part of the world and our community, and we shall have geeky rants and crafts galore for everyone. That seems like an excellent time to me. Let's see, and we are back at the mustard. I wonder if the French word mûr for blackberry is connected to, boop, is connected somehow, like maybe it's a berry that likes wet environments, swamp berry. Huh, I didn't think that blackberries like swamp environments. I mean, they're hedge, bush, bramble of kinds, so it's kind of like raspberries. They grow where they are welcome, is my impression, but we don't have a lot of them around where I live. There's usually more raspberries than blackberries. Mustard is today is also called Senf in German, but an older word for it is Mostrich. Oh, I have not heard it. I've heard Senf, but not Mostrich. That is really cool. Word history is so cool. It tells you so much about how languages move. We have a dessert based on that endless wrapper loop. Oh, that's hilarious. You put maple syrup in a bowl and you dip bread in it, and you will always finish one or the other first, and you will need to keep refilling. That's a fantastic dessert. I love it. Fritzel says, hi, I'm a bit late, but just in time to catch the tail end. Welcome, Fritzels. We are having geeky rants and food chats and science chats as is our style, so I hope you are having a good time. You are, yes, it is quite correct. We are at the tail end, aren't we? We are just one ad break away from the end of the day, which corresponds to my teacup. From my understanding, mustard as a word comes into English from the Normans. And Lynn saying, as a former biologist can confirm. Yes, scientific geeks all around. We love to see scientific geeks. It's a very small step between art and science. Absolutely. And there was this really cool project. I think it was King's College where I stumbled upon it, but many other universities have copied it since, where they hired they hired artists to work with the scientists to get really good images for their scientific journals and like for the front page of journals and things like that, to really illustrate the science really, really well. And it was such a cool project. And I mean, I don't understand the whole disparity between art and science because the two are so interlinked. It's just, you can absolutely have both at the same time. I am in favor of that. In Dutch, it is a mustard, but in the dialect my husband grew up with, it is a senf. So very much a combination of two words for the same thing that are quite dissimilar. But yeah, in Norwegian also it is sennep, so that is close to the senf, which is so cool. Stripy Crayon says, where I live it is very dry and prairie and there are no blackberries at all. Interesting. We're getting all sorts of word for mustard. In Italian it is mostarda. Huh. Also, curious people will always distract other curious people, and I love where the interests overlap. Yes. Enthusiasm is contagious no matter what the enthusiasm is, I think. Are we getting to... I might... Unusual, like this is an enthusiastic topic. Darling, do you want to join us trying to catch up with chat? Hello, sweetie. Where I... wait, no, I had read that. Also curious... I read that too. I can read. Checking on Mura. It doesn't look like it's related. I think it's from the root moro, where English gets the word mulberry. Cool. There are so many. Oh, Jen has to go to work and I missed it all, but other people are luckily saying goodbye. But that is good because I am very much lost in trying to catch up with chat. Mostaza in Spanish, and my Spanish pronunciation is abhorrent. Apologies. Once upon a time, I was determined to be a medical illustrator. Oh, Fretzels, that is so cool. I have, not on medical illustration, but I have a book from the Botanical Gardens in London, Kew, about botanical illustrations, because I think they are so cool, and I would very much love to develop that skill, though I cannot paint to save my life. But proper explanatory scientific illustrations are gold, and they are so amazing when done right. Wait, why are you bringing thread, darling? I had some data for a research project we were doing when I was doing my PhD, and it involved a lot of different chemicals and different chemicals for different levels of the sea, but we had like samples from different depths of a sea area, but they were all spread out because I mean the boat keeps moving and they are sampling different depths in different places. It was all a mess. And then we were getting signals that some samples contained some chemicals and other samples contained other chemicals, and it was not the same at all, so we couldn't just collate them and talk about the same chemicals. And I was struggling, how do you present this in a graph or an image in a understandable manner without it getting just lost in the weeds? And I was talking to my supervisor when it just hit me that I could like draw a tiny little, I actually ended up putting a tiny little boat, which was very amusing to me. And I added some waves to illustrate that this was the sea. And then I separated everything into locations, and I would write the locations at the bottom, at the seabed. And then all the different heights of the sea column, I would put bars of the different chemicals that we had discovered. And I was so happy with myself when I finally figured out, like, this is how we are going to present this data, and we are going to get all the information into one image. So satisfying. Mustaza, why YouTube? Is it struggling with the autocorrect? Aww. Makes me think of the artist on the series Bones. Yes. Many good artists everywhere. I failed to finish my secondary school, and then I did go to art academy, but I soon found out that that wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. We did go to the botanical gardens with my art academy, and that was a cool experience. That sounds like a lot of fun. People have such different experiences all over the place. I hope you found something that you want to do in the end that brings you joy and fulfillment. Or even if a job is just a paycheck, that is also completely okay. You can find joy and fulfillment elsewhere. Absolutely. That is something that people forget in our quest for fulfillment everywhere, that it is completely allowed to also just have a job for the paycheck and get fulfillment outside of work. Like, go make your life work however makes the most sense for you. I've seen some YouTube videos on botanical illustrations, the rules, etc. Oh, they are so pretty, especially the watercolor ones. They just, they have my heart. They are so gorgeous. Drawing and painting is a skill that can be trained, just like lace patterns or lab safety? Yes. Everything. I think everything can be taught. Like, most things can be taught with enough time and dedication and interest. You do need to have a certain interest in it and a priority that it takes over other things, but given the motivation, most anything can be taught. And, ability, depending on what it is, like physical ability. Oh, Joanna is coming back with the facts. So senf or senef is etc. is a loan word that the Germanic languages got from the Latin sinapis. Mostrich and mustard is actually a subtype of senf that is made with unfermented grape juice. So they are different kinds of mustard, at least at the beginning. That is interesting. So German most, Latin mustum, and English must. Yeah, from the grape must. You always bring the most interesting facts. I don't think that distinction still exists, does it? Or, not the way we are using it, at least. That is so cool. So its name would then come from fermenting it. That is really interesting. Normal senf is made with vinegar. Yeah, that's what I do too when I make mustard. Well, senf. I use a vinegar of some kind. I don't Although when I had access to apples from the landlord's garden, I would make apple vinegar that has all the bacteria in it, so I could use that to ferment the mustard seeds a bit before blending them with vinegar, or blending them with the apple vinegar that I had made, and that was very nice. It ended up being very mild and nice. Making mustard is a lot of fun. I recommend if you like mustard. And in my experience, it's a type of Christmas gift, food gift that not a lot of people make, so that you don't end up with double, which is a challenge with more people making lovely food type gifts, that it's like I don't want to make a lot of the same, just because then people get their cupboards full of things they might have a hard time using. But mustard is kind of, I feel like in our local group, I might be jinxing myself here, but so far that is something that I've been practicing making 2 years in a row. That has been quite fun. It was quite strong this year, so I don't think I'm going to make it quite as strong next time. But yeah, fun things all around. Not really. I work in a supermarket, the job to find me during my studies, and now that I'm a mother. But I'm thinking about what I want to do later. Yeah, it's I firmly believe that a job can absolutely just be for the paycheck, and you can find fulfillment elsewhere, like in being a mother. Like, don't push yourself too hard to find fulfillment in a job as well, because that might be too hard. Sometimes the job is too hard, but a balance that you can live with would be very nice. As a visual artist, I second stripy crayons. Drawing and painting are just another form of expression. Most of us can learn it if we want. Yes, good point. Interested in that mustard recipe? It's not a recipe yet, it is just experimentation. Video idea? Maybe. I might write that down and see if we can do a... But it will be a winter video closer to the holidays, because that is when I make the mustardy things. It will be very noisy though. Ooh, we are about to have ads, the last ones of the stream, and then we'll do a bit of a catch-up afterwards. See, I'm almost at the end too. We almost made a little bit over half a row. Impressive. Can almost get started on the next row. Maybe next time. It is, Slime Kitten Void says, it is very rare to see mustard sold whole in my region, or I would make my own mustard sauces. I don't find it very often in my supermarkets either, but if you have access to an international food shop like an Asian supermarket or something like that, I have often had luck finding it there. That's where I find like big, like half-kilo bags of mustard seeds. Usually brown, like the yellow mustard seeds I have to buy in the small bags, but they at least have the bags, and that is usually where I go to get stocked up on those things. If you have access to that, that is what I would try. But yeah, I haven't had much luck in our supermarkets either. They will usually have mustard or mustard powder, but not the seeds. That is a international supermarket only type thing. I should write down that idea, shouldn't I? That you all want mustard shenanigans come next Yuletide. Where would I write that? Can I just make a note? Note. Mustard shenanigans. Guns. Yuletide. And you will just live there until the live is over and I can figure out how to archive you. Catpaw says, now I see myself reading the ingredients on the various mustards in the supermarket next time to see if I can find one made with grape juice. Yes. Or maybe we should try to make one with grape juice and see if there are, you know, big flavor profile differences, because that could also be really cool. Oh no, historical grape juice experiments. I need to write that down too, don't I? This it could be quite a fun video. We are not supposed to be a historical food channel, guys. Ugh, I'm not supposed to use that gendered word. People, we are not supposed to do food history, although that is also a lot of fun. We are not supposed to do all my special interests in one channel. That seems entirely too chaotic. Must from, let's see, mustard from must or grape juice. Experiments between must and vinegar? Question mark. Burnt my dumplings, but otherwise they taste very yummy. Oh, that is a shame, but I'm glad that they came out nice in the end after all. We are too distracting. We need to be nicer so that there are no burnt dumplings. My therapist is pushing me a bit to seek a job with a little more intellectual fulfillment, but there are very few jobs where I could only work evenings and weekends, so for now this works for us. Yeah, I can see that. Like, jobs can be big challenging. And also how you can do the work. There is a job right now that I am considering just for, you know, helping tide us over with the finances that has to do with analytical chemistry and method development, which I do love to do. It is a lot of fun. But scientific jobs are typically not part-time, which I need for my own health. So I can very much hear you there, that it can be very hard to find a job that actually is what you need when you need it, with, you know, intellectual fulfillment and challenges, and also the work time one requires. It is a great big challenge when you can't do like the average regular hours, whatever that means. Of in Norway that is 8 to 4, but you know, whatever that is to you, if it is work times or how many % you're able to work, that is always a great big challenge that should not be underestimated. We should send the idea to Max Miller on Tasting History and see if he'll do the research for us. That is a good point. That could be a lot of fun, but I like to do fun videos as well, though. And now Joanna has already done a lot of the research for us, so could just reap the benefits of that. Embrace the chaos? Yes. We very much want to embrace the chaos, always. 4. If we aren't a food channel, why the gingerbread tablet weaving? And that is a good point, Loxlair. That was one video, though. It was a single video between many other crafting and science videos. I will say, I have on several occasions gone reenacting medieval style with a group of food historians whose whole thing is that we make historical food to serve taste tests to the public. And I have gotten some comments on why on earth my channel is not more food related, and I keep excusing myself with not having a very historical aesthetic kitchen, because there is a part of me that wants like a wood-fired stove and, you know, historical. Ugh. Hello, darling. Can I help you? Hi. Like Mrs. Crocombe of English Heritage. And darling, I don't have any snacks. Is there a reason you are suddenly so insistent? Like, I could give you snacks, but there's stuff in the way for the drawer. Yeah, this is the other cat. Embla is a bit more chaotic, but very cute. You can do whatever you want forever. I try. But a little bit of an overarching theme, even if it's just my own chaotic brain, would sometimes be appreciated. If nothing, just because sometimes, restrictions sometimes helps our creativity have fun, because when you can do all of the things, that can also be very overwhelming and chaotic. Relatable, and Emma says, relatable Luxolair, I bet they're still yummy and cozy though. Yes, we love us a good food shenanigans. I was supposed to try to be crocheting inside this cat cam area, but I keep forgetting because I keep pulling it up to my eyes so I can see what I'm doing. Can we finish this edge before we finish the stream, or will we have to throw in the towel? Just track the 3 different bottles of mustard I have in, and they combined, they list 5 separate varieties of vinegar on the ingredients. Gosh, I love vinegar. Yeah, same. Tart things are nice. So no grape must then, no grape juice. I wonder if, I'm sure we can find, there are probably some artisanal creators who still make it with grape juice, because why wouldn't they? Maybe some of the historical Dijon mustards still do. I wonder. I seem to feel like I saw a Business Insider video about that, but again, like with the Myrtle, I might be misremembering it and getting my facts all twisted up, because that does happen. That I will forget a knot in a sentence and relate things wrong, which is why we fact check ourselves before doing anything. Some beer breweries make vinegar too, and some even have their own mustard made with their beer vinegar, which is cool. Oh yeah, I love that. I love it when they kind of expand upon their original setup and use their product as an ingredient in other things. I think that can make for really, really cool products. Baby down finally. Catch you folks later. Thanks for keeping me company. Glad the tiny worked out serendipitously. That is a mouthful of a word. I am glad the baby is finally down. I hope you have a good one, the Viking Bunny, and I hope we catch you again some other time, if timing allows. Calm crafting, being informative, and sustainability are still within the theme. That is a good point, Lynn. Like, that is very much a good point, trying to be independent and sustainable and all of the fun things without being preachy, because I never enjoyed being preached to, and I don't imagine other people enjoy that either. Like, no one likes to be made to feel inferior or stupid. That is not an enjoyable time, so let's try not to do that. Oh, come on, surely we can make it to the end of this before I give up. I have only, what is it? I can count. 7, 8. 8 more picos until we are at the end. I look at my own mustards too. I have a couple of fancy ones. I don't think we have a lot of fancy ones at the moment, since I made stuff that spouse can eat. We have a lot of homemade stuff, but it ended up very spicy this year, so I think I will be a little bit more withholding with the horseradish and the brown mustard seeds next time, because that was a bit too much. I'm using unspun yarn for the first time to knit a cozy shawl. It's a Nutiden yarn. Ooh, I hear about people using unspun to knit, and it seems like they end up with such fluffy and lovely creations, and they look so cozy. I've also heard about people knitting directly from the fleece, which is like super impressive. It seems like you are doing entirely too many tasks all in one go, but so much fun. It looks super, super cool. Don't think I would be able to pick that up as a project though, but I'm sure someone will. It looks a lot of fun. Maybe engineering nets would, because that seems like their kind of fun experiment, unless they already have. I am bad at keeping up with content these days. Fritzl says they looked up the local supermarket once and there is one local variety that specifies that it uses white wine vinegar. Interesting. So still no grape must. I love that this is becoming a science experiment where we are just searching for the hidden one that actually has the thing that we want. Stripy Crayon says, I'm almost done the closing flap on my messenger bag. Now I have to decide how to make the strap. It's always a question, isn't it? What kind of... because that adds so much to the look of a bag. What kind of strap to go for. Luxler says, be careful with the unspun. It isn't as strong without the twist. That makes sense that one should treat it with a bit more care, but oh my goodness, the fluff. Oh, the fluff of those sweaters is exquisite. Fritzl says, finally started learning to spin again this last week. Ooh, how exciting. Learning a new skill is always, or even if you're picking up an old skill, it's always exciting. The weeks run by so quickly and I have like so many projects that I want to do. And then I come to the end of the year and I still haven't done half of them. And I'm like, but I was supposed to do those different crafts this year because it is fun to show people different crafts. And then it gets pushed to maybe next year. And I'm like, no, we need to do it this year. I'm not sure I'm doing these picots entirely correctly, but picots they are. And Lynn says, I'm pretty sure I've seen grape mustard before and once with like the grape residue from winemaking, but I don't have any at the moment. Yeah, it makes sense that maybe it would be like in winemaking regions like France, this would be more accessible still, whereas in other countries that are either importing or making vinegar from or making mustard from other sources, that might be less of a prevalent thing. See? Oh. There you go. 3 and 1 more triple crochet and then 3 more chains and 1 and 2. No triple crochet here, only regular crochet. There we go. 1. How many at the end? Ooh. 5. Can I count? Will this be correct? 2, 3, 4, 5. Great success and victory. Now we have 1 more row of our quite endless. Maybe I should show it here on the little close-up cam. We are getting somewhere. Boop. And many more rows to go for even more fantabulous results. See, is it easier to see like that? Doot. Quite enjoyable. Of course, that means our forever shawl is still not finished, but you know what? That is all good. Maybe I should use this bag as an excuse to finally learn tablet weaving. I know, I mean, as a tablet weaving enabler, I fully support this message, Stripy Crayons. Tablet weaving is fantastic, and you don't need to buy tablets. Just get you a stack of cards or some cardboard or something like that and punch some holes in them. I super recommend that for anyone trying out crafts. Start with what they have in the house already, and then if they enjoy it and they find that it is a craft that they keep coming back to as one of their core crafts, that is when you are starting to get the nice equipment, if you are really enjoying the craft. But whenever I try something out, I like to recommend people try to do it for cheap first, so you don't spend a lot of money if it is a craft you won't actually enjoy. Emma says, I've enjoyed how fragile the unspun is. Somehow it's been meditative to work with, until I realized I've made a mistake earlier and now have to take back. Not the best yarn for that. That's a good point. I've had some tension weirdness with my first purl stitch after mid stitches, and no amount of tightening will quite solve it. Oh no! That is frustrating. And Christina Lavelle says, currently knitting a jumper with hand-spun yarn. I've got my fingers crossed that the bubbly and inconsistent ups and downs in the tension come out when I block it. It very often does. Blocking helps a lot. Oh wait, is balsamic vinegar a grape-based one? It is. It can be indeed. And Lynn will say they post anything on Discord if they find anything fun in my stash. I love collaborative video ideas. You all are, you know, group pressuring me into making this a reality, so we shall see how we shall get on with that. I still insist that it shall be closer to the end of the year though, because for me this is a Yuletide gifting thing, so you'll have to be patient a little bit longer. Fritzl says, my shawl reminds them of the white crocheted lampshades their mother made when they was little. That is very cute. But yes, I'm mostly up to date with the chat indeed, and that is where we shall call it today. A little bit overtime, as it sometimes happens, but yeah, I hope you have a good time. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and that you take care of yourself and that you are kind to yourself. And I shall be getting on to bed my own self, and whatever is in store for you the rest of the week, I hope you have a good one. So yeah, for now, that is all for now, but hopefully, health permitting, I shall see you all again next week. But yeah, thank you and goodbye.